Hello, everybody, and welcome along to this live stream here today. Oh, I seem to be zoomed in quite a bit here, so just bear with me 1 second. There we go. That's us there, definitely. Yes, hello, and welcome along. This live stream today is an ad hoc live stream. Ad hoc in the fact that I don't normally do these kind of things live, but I thought I'd share with you something today that has been niggling me for quite some time now, and yeah, I researched it well, and I ordered some spare parts, and they arrived a couple of days ago, and yeah, so we thought we'd do a live repair. Now, just to say, thank you very much for joining us here today. This stream is all about me repairing my DAB digital radio, which I've had for quite some years now, and a regular... Yeah, a well-known fault with this radio is the fact that the display on these radios stopped working. And this happened to me several months back. And, you know, I just basically unplugged the radio and thought, that's it. £200 radio trashed in the bin. But anyway, so what I have here is my original radio. You can see it's all powered on. I'm touching the handle here, and you can see it's responding to me, but there's nothing happening with the display. So the radio itself is still functional. So the main fault appears to be with the display, and if you Google this, you will find that there are lots and lots of people actually reporting the same fault with the same radio. So I thought that I'd give myself a little project. So this is powered on. This is my original radio here. But because this is quite bruised and battered now, and is well over 10 years old now, this radio, I thought that I'd attempt to actually recondition another radio, the same radio, but not my radio. And yeah, so I basically went on to eBay. Let me just unplug this for you here now. So that's my one. Now, if today is successful, I will attempt to order another screen and do a repair of my own unit. However, because I've got another unit which supposedly is here and reconditioned, when it arrived in the post just the other day, I took it out of the box. It was well packaged. I can see it's been used. I'm not quite sure in what kind of environment, but it is almost brand spanking new. I mean, just look at the shine on that. That is absolutely gorgeous. The handle, spotless. It's well polished, well cleaned. And I'm hopeful that what we've got inside is a working radio still, but we just need to replace the screen. So I went on to eBay and I found a guy by the name of David Pye who actually builds these boards, these new boards, and these displays, and actually sells them on eBay at a very reasonable price. So well, I mean, obviously I've ordered this, and the guy actually has got some really detailed instructions on how to do it. But when you read the instructions, it is such an easy task to do that I pretty much could challenge it to my own daughter, and she'd be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it came well wrapped. I mean, the display arrived just today, and the radio, which I bought separately as a second-hand purchase through eBay, arrived a couple of days ago. So, I mean, I was just so dead impressed by the quality of this reconditioned radio. I mean, repurposed, whatever you want to call it. So, let's power it on. I've got the lead here, and let's see if we get any power first of all. So, in it goes. And if we start to get green lights, then we know that this is actually working. And the thing about these radios is they do take some time to boot up. I've got a Pure internet radio sitting in the kitchen as well, one of their new Flow ranges. is it the Connect Plus? That's what I've got. Yeah, the stereo version. Oh, there we go. We've got some lights. And yeah, even that one there, once you power it on, it takes a good 30 seconds to boot up before you have to press the power button again to actually power on the radio itself. But anyhow, we have some power here. It's working. And if I actually now press and hold down the power button, you can see I've got the lights. If I press I think if I remember rightly, I have to press the middle button and the radio is powering on. But look what's happened. Display, again. Exactly the same fault as mine. Exactly. And I know this is really niggling a lot of Pure Digital Evoke users, owners out there. But it's such an easy repair to do. Now, here's a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not associated with Pure. I'm not associated with David Pye, who obviously I purchased the repair kit off of here. This is all being done on the fly. The last time I got hold of a soldering iron to do any repairs was a good 10 years or so ago. But the good news about this repair is you don't actually need to do any soldering. So when we get the radio open, we should just be able to unplug a few things, unscrew, I think, 4 or 5 screws, and put everything back in again, with at least the new board. But I have to follow the instructions that David has set out here on his PDF download, because this board, which I'll unwrap in a minute, actually has been updated. So his exact words here say, please note that if you fitted one of these kits previously, the installation instructions have now changed. The board is now mounted backwards to the radio. So I don't know what that means exactly, because I've not done one of these repairs previously. But I've had a look at the instructions, and we're going to do a detailed follow of those instructions, and we will see exactly how well we do. Right. Incidentally, I've got the live chat room on the go right now, so if you want to join us and chat along, then do by all means have a little interaction with us here while we do this live repair. So let's power this down. We'll take out the power lead from the back of the unit. I know this radio is working. I've heard the amplifier come on. It always makes a sound as you sort of power it on. So I know that there is power going into the device. I know that there's 6 volts coming out of that power adapter, which is to be expected. So just quickly looking at the back of the unit here, we have got the USB socket here, which enables you to obviously download and flash new firmware into it. And when we're up and running with this a bit later this evening, I will take a look and see if there's any new firmware available to that. You got the auxiliary speaker. I do own the ST1 speaker that goes along with this unit. So that's where I plugged that one in there. You've got your headphone output. Speaker, is it speaker? No, stereo out. Different way of saying line out, basically. That enables me to plug a 3.5mm stereo jack to a, I don't know, maybe an RCA, and plug it into an external amplifier or my mixing console, and then you can have it set up as basically a radio unit that basically is a radio receiver, and then you plug it through your audio amplifier. And then of course there's the auxiliary in, so if you have got a mobile phone with a headphone jack on there, you can just plug it in there. Because this radio is over 10 years old, long before the smartphone really properly came into action, and the 3.5mm jack started disappearing, and we all went Thunderbolt and USB-C. There was the option to output the audio as a stereo source, and then you can plug it into the auxiliary input there. So first of all, I just need to go and get my friendly magic cloth here. And we're going to put the cloth down, because it does actually state to put something down that actually will protect the display while you do the work. So let's go ahead and do this now. And let's see how we can do this. So the first thing the instructions say is to remove the 6 screws. So if I just open up the aerial antenna just slightly here, you can see that we've got 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that's holding the back of the unit in place. If I just open up the battery compartment and take out the leaflet that's inside talking about which rechargeable battery unit you can use for this, there is no screws. So there's nothing more for me to actually unscrew in there. So we'll place that one back there and pop the case back on there. So let's get the device unscrewed. So let's remove the 6 screws, and that's the first thing that the instructions say to do. Obviously after having placed it down on a soft surface. So you could use a towel, a well padded towel, tea towel, etc. But you know, just make sure that you don't put it down on a hard surface to obviously scratch or damage the screen or the buttons that obviously it's resting on at this moment in time. Now these screws are coming out quite easily, so they're not actually held down by any kind of, you know, Gorilla Glue as such. So I should just be able to now, yeah, so I don't have a magnetic screwdriver on me to be able to pull those screws out. But all 6 are now unscrewed. So if I now turn the unit over gently, we should now have all 6 screws come out. One's rolled away from me here, but I'll make sure they've got it there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. 6 screws there, perfectly intact. I'm going to place those now just to one side. Make sure they don't roll off of my desk. But we should now only need to refer back to those when we are complete with the project at hand. So the next step is to undo the packaging for the PCB on this. So just to say that this comes as part of a 2-piece kit. You get the LCD display or the OLED display, and then you get the main computer control board here. So nicely designed, beautifully produced. It doesn't say who has produced it, but this is a board that hasn't been endorsed by Pure in any way, shape or form, but it does have printing on it that says not endorsed by Pure and has got David Pye's email address on there. So he actually has made and built this and programmed this board all together. You can just about see it there on my face cam, and if I pop it down here, and if it can get any focus on that, there we go. So there is the PCB, which will be controlling our updated board. So we have the display, cleverly marked top, so that tells me that when I put it back into the unit, it has to go in basically that way up. So I know that I'm not accidentally putting it in upside down, as Diana Ross once sang. So the LCD display at the moment, or LED display, it has some protective film on it. So this protective film I will need to peel off. You can see it's got the tab there. I'm not going to do that just yet. So I'm just going to place now the display and the board to one side. And we will do that now. I'll just protect that quickly there. So that's now in one side. And let's get the radio open. So let me just turn that upside down to just do some movement. Gentle shake as that opens out. And now I have the unit in 2 separate pieces. Excellent. Right, now we've got to be very, very careful with this one because there is internal wiring here which will get in our way. So before we do anything else, let me just try and prise this out of its case, which is getting stuck right now. So you have to kind of do it at a slight angle and then just slide it out. And that's what I'm doing here right now. So let's take a look at what we've got inside. and the speaker wire is quite tightly packed in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the speaker, which is this wire here. So that just basically, like your computer when you put in your CPU fans and etc., is just a 2-pin clip, which I'm just going to gently prise out without damaging the cable. It should just unclip. I should just be able to do with a pinch of my fingers. Yep, there he goes, and it's released. So now we've got a bit more movement of the board here. Now we have to be very, very careful because we do have two silver ribbon cables that are going inside the unit there, as you can see, and that is also obstructing my the areas where I need to get to. Also, I've got to be very, very careful of the snooze handle. You can see here there is a blue cable which is connected to that there, and that blue cable is in my way. So I'm just going to gently prise that away from the glue. There we go. And it's not needed, but we can stick it back down again once we've completed this project. Right, now in order to do anything further, I next need to be able to try and remove the board inside, which if you can just about see here. So here is the main PCB, and it will be, let me just try to see if there's any way I can twist that around without ruining the mechanics of the radio. There we go, let's gently, right. So that board there is next going to be replaced with this board here. But this, I think, according to David's instructions, is now going to sit this way round and will next... Oh no, is that right? Yes, because there's a smaller ribbon cable there and a longer ribbon cable. And that's going to be what will connect the display, and that'll be held down by 2 screws. And let me just pop that down there. So, consulting with David's instructions now, let me just see if I can bring that up onto our screen here. So let's do a window capture. And let me just see what else we need. No, not the chat. We want actually to bring up... Yep, there's my Twitter feed, which means I'm on that browser there. And if I bring up the PDF here in the browser... Actually, I've downloaded this PDF, so I should just be able to open this PDF up. So here is David's instruction manual. And if I just come back to that, and I will zoom in a bit on his instructions here so we can see that. There we go. So he's saying, hi, thanks for purchasing the LED replacement kit, which is what I've got here. Note that the display is not supported or endorsed by Pure Limited. D&H Pye Limited cannot be liable for any damage that occurs to the radio from incorrect use of or installation of the kit. So the kit is needed because the original LED display on the radio is no longer available. You can't buy a replacement part for that one. While similar displays, obviously the same connectors etc. are available, they tend to give a mirror effect display when fitted, making them unusable. So the circuit board supplied here as part of this kit sits in the middle of the data stream between the radio and the display, and makes the necessary adjustments to the data to make the display appear the correct way round. So as we go through the fitting process, we've already undone the 6 screws, and we are now inside the radio. So with care, you should be able to position the 2 halves of the radio as shown below. Well, I've done the complete opposite with that. So let us see, what has he done? So he has actually got the handle here, and he's actually put the radio kind of... Where are we? Yeah, see, he hasn't accounted for the fact that you've got the snooze handle, which if you look in his picture, this cable is actually a bit longer. So I'm doing the opposite and actually just keeping that now to one side. I'm going to do this as complete opposites, I think. Yeah, let's just try and see if I can just sit that there without it ruining any capacitors or ribbon cables, etc. Right. Okay. So next, he's basically saying you can see circled in purple the 4 screws that hold the display holder in place, as well as the ribbon connector, which then joins to the board, which he's got there circled in green. And if I just now flick back to where am I on OBS? And if I just flick back to me, I'm pointing now here where he is highlighting this. So you are looking at the same view that you can see in this PDF here. So hopefully we should be able to do what we need to do. Now there's a glob of glue and some tape over the area where we need to disconnect the ribbon cable from. And what I'm not seeing is any way to be able to screw this board down. So somehow this board is actually connected to the radio. And this is actually, looking at this, this is the bit that's controlling the 3 controllers. The actual, in fact, this is the bit, if I hold it, yeah, this is the bit that's actually controlling the potentiometers. So you're actually getting the volume control and the selector being controlled by that. So we actually need to keep that board there. So back to me here. And if I just on the other screen here, you can't see this right now, but I can. If I just follow along with his instructions, it says if some models have masking tape or hot glue over the connector. If so, gently peel it back enough to be able to see where the orange cable enters the connector. So let's do that then. Gently peeling that back. Yeah, okay. I might need to use my friendly screwdriver. There we go. That brings that bit of tape back there. So my unit here might actually be well built in such a way that I might not be able to do this. But I've got to make sure that I don't damage these ribbon cables in any way. So my guess is that I've got to be able to remove this glob of glue. So you only need to be able to peel back enough to be able to access the black retaining clips, which I can find here. Yeah, got that. Brilliant. Okay, so you can't see that because I'm not zoomed into the camera, but if I just point my screwdriver to where these are, I can actually see a black point here and a black point here. And that is where we will disconnect the ribbon cable and put in the new one. Okay, so now next it says use a fingernail or small screwdriver to move each clip in the direction shown by the green arrow. So let's have a look at his display here. So in the direction, so I need to be able to push that in, I think. Let me just see. Push it in or push it out? It's not moving, I think. Let me just see if I can move the glob of glue a bit more. So we need to remove this, and I might need to get my My tweezer screwdriver's out. Hang on, where are we? It says to move it in the direction of that. The arrows, if we look back at his PDF here, the arrows suggest that I need to be able to push it in the direction of actually, you know, left and right, basically. And then just slide out the board. Slide out the meter, the reader. So let me just see what else we can do to get that moving. So I don't want to break the original screen. Now I need to be able to push that in. You're saying pushing it in. Oh, I know. So, if I remember rightly, with these type of clips, is that there's somewhere further down the line, push it in. Yes, so I need to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we'll take a bit of a break from this. I just need to go and get my toolkit out to get my tweezers and stuff for this. I also need to start cooking some dinner because I thought this was going to be a 10-15 minute job. More for me. Yeah, that glob of glue is not moving. Yeah, I need to get my other tools out for this. So for this, I'm going to obviously need to be able to try and prise the ribbon cable out here. So yeah, so join me for part 2 in about an hour or so. I will be back, and we will get this done today. And I'll be back very, very shortly.